Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cynthia and I'm going to be vlogging what I eat in a day today. So today is Saturday, January 16th and currently I have had nothing to eat. I woke up a little late today around 10. It's about 2 o'clock right now and I've had a large black coffee. I'm still working on my first bottle of water and I just did some walking with my mom and then a few minutes by myself. So now I'm ready to eat. I'm gonna make myself some breakfast burritos, even though it's 2 o'clock, but it doesn't matter because it's still breakfast for me. And I'll show you how I make it. I make it all the time, but again, we're gonna use what ingredients I have on hand, which I think today's like spinach, chorizo, a couple eggs, and call it a day. So come along with me as we do what I eat in a day, and I'll make sure to include macros as well. Alright, so here are my ingredients of choice today along with the tools that you will need. So I have whole wheat tortillas, I have everything with the bagel seasoning, it's a little bougie, got it from the States, Trader Joe's, salsa, sriracha, and then I'm using chorizo because that's what we have out right now. I have a little bit of pepper I found, some onion, tomato, spinach, and I'm actually going to get a few pieces of garlic. So all I'm going to first start doing is measure out how much chorizo I want. I have a scale here that I'm going to put to 0, and then I will start by cooking this and then I will move on to chopping vegetables while this is happening. Now I'm going to take the chorizo and cut a small slice for myself and weighing it. This piece actually ended up being 54 grams, and then off camera all I'm going to do is cut it up into small pieces and start cooking it on the skillet. Then I'm going to start chopping all of my vegetables. First, I have the garlic. I'm going to mince it into small slices. And then I have leftover peppers and I'm just going to cut off the little middle part and cut it into thin slices and dice it after that. And lastly, we have onion. These are just vegetables that I think are really good and go well together, but honestly, the opportunities are endless. Whatever is simple, whatever you have, whatever is going bad, you can just put it into the scrambled egg mixture and call it a day. You're also going to see my cutting board moving around a lot over here. That's actually really unsafe, and a quick way to fix that is by taking a paper towel or a kitchen towel, getting it a little damp, and then placing it underneath your cutting board as flat as possible, and then placing the cutting board on top. And then it should stay in place and not move. And now you're going to see me use the same saucepan that I cooked the chorizo in. And the reason I cooked the chorizo is it just adds a nice little char, smoky flavor to it and kind of brings out more oomph to the product. There's a little bit of olive oil into the same pan, add in the vegetables that take the longest to cook. I'm going to start off with the onions and peppers. After a few minutes I'll add in the garlic and the tomatoes, and then the very last step is going to be adding in spinach. The cool thing about the spinach is that you can add so much spinach. I'm literally adding in 2 handfuls and it wilts down into almost nothing. Probably next time I would chop it up into smaller pieces, but more or less this is awesome because there's so many vegetables and it keeps you full for longer. Once the spinach is cooked down to my liking, I'm going to kind of make 3 little wells in my little mixture, and I'm going to add my eggs. I crack 1 into each little section and I use the actual shell to break the yolk, which obviously whenever I do it on video, I always mess up and add the shell to the mixture, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to slowly work the scrambled eggs until it gets to the desired texture that I want. And I think using a non-stick skillet is better. This time I'm using a stainless steel skillet and I don't think it worked as well. Now is the fun part. We are going to start building. First, what you're going to do is lay the tortilla down, and I always put the most toasted side down, and then I'm going to take a slice of cheese, cut it in half, and once that's done, I will add in half the egg mixture. Only half because I want to still be able to fold it properly. And once I do that, I'm going to add my chorizo on top. If I was using a meat like bacon or something, I'd probably put the bacon first and then my egg mixture. But since these are all weird shapes and sizes, it doesn't matter what order I go in. Then I'm going to drizzle some sriracha sauce and add in some salsa. I don't track either of those. The calories are minuscule. I think for the salsa, it's a 1/4 cup. It's like 25 calories. So it's just not worth my time. Then I shake some everything but the bagel seasoning on top. Once that's done, I'm going to use a spoon to basically keep the filling to one side while I fold the top over. Once I have kind of like the top secured in place, I'll continue folding and push any excess mixture that comes out back into the tortilla. Lastly, I'm going to take the rest of my egg mixture and put it on my plate and add in any other leftover meat I have on top. One thing I forgot to mention, I always add sriracha sauce and everything but the bagel seasoning to the top of both the burrito and to my egg mixture. And one thing to note is that I was able to find the everything but the bagel seasoning at Costco in Canada, in case you're interested. So that is what I had for breakfast, and I think I had it with a bubbly. Okay, and there you have it, a late breakfast. It's basically some scrambled eggs, one burrito, and chorizo. I'm gonna have it with the bubbly. So usually after I have breakfast, I either have a dessert or I want something warm to drink. So in this case, I'm having hot lemon water, and I basically add some ginger in it as well. Okay, so in these next few clips, I'm going to take you along with me as I work out. And first, I always start off with stretching, and this is just a random routine that I made up myself. And I basically start with my upper body, like my arms, and work my way down. And I don't know the name of half of these stretches, but you can just follow along. I did want to take the next few minutes to basically tell you what I've been doing since the new year started. So of course, you know, last year all of the gyms were closed for a greater part of the year, and we moved and I basically canceled my membership. So what I decided to do for the new year, kind of like to get a kickstart, was to join the Bodmund Fit challenge. And it's basically a 30-day challenge hosted by Bodmund Fit, and it's I think $20 American, and it's at-home workouts. You don't really need any equipment, but a skipping rope is kind of needed. But even if you don't have that, you have alternatives. And it's basically HIIT workouts that you're able to do at home. And it's pretty quick, about 35 minutes for each workout, maybe 10 minutes for my warm-up. And I'm really enjoying it so far. It just gave me an opportunity to realize that you don't need to be at a gym to work out. And this kind of workout, you're going to see me here. There's a lot of times where I walk around in circles, and it's honestly because I'm contemplating my life and wondering why the fuck this is so hard. And basically what she is having me do in this set, and I'm following along on a video, which is what you can't see, but it's basically 3 circuits each day, and each circuit has 3 exercises that you're doing for 1 minute each, and then you take a 1 minute rest, and then you repeat 2 more times. So in this first circuit, what I'm starting off with is basically frog jumps, and then after a minute it switches into jumping as high as possible. And then the last one of this circuit is doing side kicks. So everything looks funny when I watch it back when I'm doing it on camera, but it just reminds me of how hard it is when I'm doing it. And it's just a good way to get a workout in. I'm sweating by the end of this, and I'm in the garage working out, and it's already pretty cold outside. And if I'm still sweating, that just shows you how crazy it is. Another thing about this challenge that's cool is that the fact that there are cash prizes at the end. I think she has multiple winners for first place, second place, and third place. So I took pictures of myself at day 1, and at the end of this challenge, at the end of week 4, day 5, I'll take pictures of myself and send it to her. And then based on all of the submissions, she'll pick who is the winner. Who are the winners actually. Later on in this video, you'll see that my second set is consisted of doing these kind of like jumping jacks, but on the floor, kind of in a plank position. And then the second workout of that set was to do a plank, and I stopped so many times but restart, but that's okay, because as long as I'm trying, that's all that matters. And then the last thing is burpees. Bro, I hate burpees, but honestly, this was such a solid workout, and it definitely got my sweat on. And the last set is basically a repeat of the first one, but I think the first exercise changed into kind of like squat jumps, I guess you'll see in the video, and then it goes into doing the jumping as high as possible, and then the last thing was side kicks. Okay, let's talk macros. So before I started going on my diet, like say after Boxing Day, starting Monday, December 28th, I started tracking my weight. Just for the 7 days, I tracked my weight, and I wanted to see what I was averaging at by the end of the week. That was going to be the weight that I used for calculating my starting macros. So for that week, my preliminary week, let's call it, my average was 165.5. So basically the formula I use is from John Mango, and he says to use body weight times 10 times 1.3. So 165.5 times 10 times 1.3 equaled out to be about 2,152 calories. Then I take what my goal weight is and put that into grams of how much protein I need. So for example, I want to be 120 as my goal weight. So my protein minimum requirement would be 120 grams that I would like to hit. On MyFitnessPal, I just changed the percentages to be 35% protein, 35% carbs, 35% fats. But those numbers are basically irrelevant because honestly, as long as I'm within my calories, which is 2,150, and hitting my minimum grams of protein, the rest will even itself out. Every time I start tracking calories again, I always make sure the first 2 weeks I'm not too hard on myself. I just track anything that I eat and be open and honest as possible. And if I happen to do meal prep and I'm eating a little bit healthier choices, that's okay. And if I overeat or undereat, honestly, I don't really care. The first 2 weeks is really about getting back into the habit. So some statistics for you. Within the first week, I only lost 0.4 pounds, but then in week 2, I lost 1.4 pounds. In total, I've lost 1.8 pounds so far, but honestly, I feel like a lot of my bloat is gone. And maybe that's because I was on my Shark Week, the first week that I took my progress pictures. But regardless, I can see the trends happening. And whenever I look at all these numbers, it's just statistics for me. And I try to remind myself this is just a science experiment. And lastly, just because we recently were able to add some plates into our gym, I decided to try doing some squats, although that was irrelevant because I didn't even use any plates. I just wanted to make sure I can still squat and have good form. But once this challenge comes to an end, I'm going to start lifting again and maybe sprinkle in some of these workouts as well. Usually on my last rep, I like to stay in the hole, as you call it, or hold my squat and really feel the pain, and then it just makes it even harder to get up, and I just end off with that. Usually after a workout, I'm really tired, and although I'm hungry, I usually wait a little bit to eat some real food. So I'm going to make myself a smoothie, and this is something that's basically a snack I consider, and I make it like this, a smoothie format, because I really hate milk, and I can't drink it just with water because that just seems really nasty to me. So I just use one frozen banana that's cut in half, and I cut that half into smaller pieces, quarters, so it's easier for the blender to mix. If I didn't have frozen bananas, I would use ice or other frozen fruit to get that texture that I'm looking for. And then I add in basically 3/4 cups of water, and after that I add in my protein powder just so that it has something to stick to, basically the water instead of the blender. And then I add in a bunch of spinach because honestly you really can't taste it, although the color does change to green. And then when I actually start the blender, I make sure to put it on crush ice first because it's like the frozen banana is very hard for it to crush. And then once that's done, I do liquidify for like maybe 30 seconds, and then it will get it into the smoothie like texture that I enjoy. So over here I have my little station for tacos. Most of the stuff is already pre-made. All I really did right now was shred some cheese. Even this lettuce, I washed it already in advance and I had it in a bag, hence why it's going a little red, but I'm gonna finish it off by today. And then I heated up these taco shells. I have chipotle chicken over here that I heated up. This is about 3.1 ounces. And the other thing I have over here is some salsa. So what I always do, the only thing is when you heat up these tacos in the toaster oven, the shells, it becomes harder to work with. But I always put the cheese down first, and then my hope is that the hot chicken is going to melt it and it's gonna stay and stuff. A little bit more. I got this little taco holder thing from IKEA, and I think it was like literally probably $3 each. So take a few pieces of chicken. I'm just gonna use my hands. So now that these are stuffed, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually add my salsa next. And the reason why is because then lettuce has something to stick to. And it's not gonna like fall all over the place. And then let's take some lettuce. Push it in. If I wasn't lazy, I would have put some onions in, maybe some peppers, or I could have made a quesadilla, but I was super lazy today. I'm in the middle of binge watching Lost. And so, I'm just trying to eat. Okay, so a very messy plate. That's how it's gonna be. There are my huge pieces. lettuce, tacos. Not very presentable, but that's okay. This will not be a thumbnail picture, even though it's real life. Okay, those chicken tacos were so bomb. I was like, I'm not hungry, but I ate the whole thing in like 10 seconds flat. And now I'm just going to have one banana because I want something sweet, and unfortunately we don't have any junk food right now, or else I would have liked that. I'm gonna have a banana, and ideally I would have probably ate one more meal, which would have been my Greek chicken salad. And the thing is, I woke up late today, and usually I eat late, so if I'm still hungry in a bit and I want to eat something, I'll probably have a salad. And if not, I'm just gonna go to sleep, eat this, and keep you posted. I try to have big meals, and if not, if I'm lazy, I end up snacking, and then I'm not full anyways, and then I just go to bed like annoyed that it just snacked. Doesn't even make sense. So I try to eat meals, and then in between, if I want something sweet or something snacky, I'll have it, but I would have already had it or about to have my real meal soon, you know? So, okay, that's it.